Hey, what's up, people? Good afternoon. Welcome to L.in.K Live. My name is Adero Ocholler. Remember to roll the R. Today with me is a special guest who I have been stalking on social media, but glad that I know him kidogo personally through a friend, a relative who is one of his closest friends. That is Dan Sonko, all the way in Mombasa. Dan Sonko, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Uko salama? Habari za Mombasa?
Mombasa jua tu tunafurahi, ni njaa
Uh-huh.
ndio imezidi.
All right. And I have Sophie, our resident psychologist, who's always with us. Hi, Sophie. Hi, Nairobi.
Yeah.
The irony, hot and cold.
Yeah, man. I'm just
And
jealous.
Nakuru is in the middle. We are kati. The weather is playing tricks on us, but yeah. So we're also hot and cold.
Poleni.
So yeah, so guys, welcome to the show. Remember, guys, if you're watching and if you're just joining us for the first time, karibu sana. Continue to follow us on our social media platforms at L.in.K on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we'll also share Dan and Sophie's social media handles after the show on the comment section. And before we start off with the show, would like to take a moment of silence for a hero who's fallen, and that is Charles Bukeko, aka Papa Shirandula. And we'll just have a moment of silence for him. Eternal rest be granted unto him, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon him. Some sad news, and from the L.in.K team and Kenya at large, pole to his family and his friends. He's greatly going to be missed. He's graced our screens, and you know what he's done. Yeah. So may he rest in eternal peace. So Dan, over to you. Tell us something about yourself. As Dan prepares himself. So according to Dan, and I'll read the bio about him, he's a born-again Christian, father of two, and engaged to Bwire Ndubi, a theater and film actor, director, and producer, supply chain consultant on logistics and freight forwarding all around. Anajiita mtu wa mkono. And I've mentioned Winnie, and I know you guys have seen our posters, Dan and Winnie, beautiful posters of them. Unfortunately, Winnie is not able to be here with us, but she might join us. Ako hustle mode. So if she comes on board and we are still on, she'll join us. So Dan, apart from what I've said about you, tell us about something else about yourself.
Well, I'm very lazy. I'm very lazy. Lazy in a good way, as in mi hupenda ni sort watu, kila mtu awe sorted so that I don't have anything to do. Yeah. Peace of mind. But you basically summed it up. And I think during this corona period, as hard as it may have been for most of us,
Yeah.
I dare say I think I found my purpose in life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because you mentioned I'm a born again Christian. One of my calls, especially when I pray, is I needed to understand what servanthood is. And I think I found my niche in servanthood because I'm serving the same industry that I'm so in love with and I'm a part of, which is the creative industry in Mombasa.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So Dan, there's a story. I'm sure most of the people, everyone who's watching knows Dan Sonko. Like, if you don't know Dan Sonko, auko Kenya. And a few years ago, Dan lost his wife, and he'll just tell us the story, and then we get to where we are today. So Dan, the platform is yours.
Okay, allow me to do this like high level summary.
Yes.
So I got married in 2012 to the love of my life then, Drusilla Waloe Mbono.
Yeah.
We had been dating for I think 2 years, then decided, you know what? And me, I don't know those things of setting up surprises with groups for engagement. So what I did was basically, I'd come from travel, then we met at Joker Club opposite Apia Center. Yeah, we are that local. As we were eating, I remember I was looking at her and I was like, babe, so we get married. I think she almost choked on whatever she was eating. She laughed, she chuckled, and then she's like, hey, you're serious? I'm like, yeah, we get married. So long story short, we got married in 2012. Got our first child, firstborn Jibril, in 2013 October. Then May 2017 is when we got Darren. We were set on having 2 kids, you know, like a perfect family. It's 2 kids, and then we build our future. So yeah, we have 2 kids. And we are building a future, but she's building in Absentia. What happened was it just came by surprise, you know. The first pregnancy was by CS, so we really tried so hard to make sure this second one is normal. So we did the exercises, did proper diet, all those things. But on the 20th of May, at night, she wakes me up. Babe, I'm having a bad headache. And that was like 7 days after her due date. Her due date was actually on her birthday. So 20th, she has these headaches. She wakes me up. I immediately call the guy now, Dr. Yusuf. So Dr. Yusuf is like, just monitor her. If it gets worse, take her to hospital. So when I hung up, you ladies know yourselves. By this, but I remember her telling me, by then I'm feeling better. Let's just sleep and see what happens in the morning. So I remember asking her, so kwa nini uliniamsha? Sasa juu tumeamka si tujaribu kusort. So we went to the washrooms. She complained it's a bit too much. So we went to the car and rushed to the nearest health center. It was nearly healthcare at the time, and we left Jibril asleep.
Wow.
So we got to the hospital. Now her head is like throbbing. The doctor checked her out. He's called Dr. Kinyo, a very good friend of mine, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, let's check the vitals of the baby first." So we checked the vitals. The baby was okay. I was told, you go to OC, let them monitor her from there. So I needed to organize for Jibril to be sorted out. So I called a very good friend of mine, Chris Muya. He came. I picked Jibril, came, we swapped places. Drew injured the car. I mean, she was still okay. We drove all the way to Agakan. She walked out of the car. We went to the maternity wing. So as we were seated over there, the hospitals, being hospitals, asked me to go and fill in the insurance forms. So I left her. She was okay. I went. As I was filling the forms, the alert went off. Maternity wing code blue. Yeah. So obviously I was like, I just requested those guys, mrembo wangu wako huko ndani. I know there are a lot of women, but let me just go check.
Yeah.
So I left them my cards and everything. I walked. By then I didn't even feel nothing because I knew it wasn't her.
Yeah.
Mimi na upepo yangu nikafika huko. I found her in an epileptic fit.
In an
epileptic fit. She was having a seizure. So I've never seen her in an epileptic fit. We've never had any history of this. So a male nurse pulls me aside and he starts explaining to me, this is preeclampsia, blah, 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 all those things. And I had to sign a consent for her to be rushed to ICU, or rather, sorry, to the theater for CS to save the baby and then her. So
okay, like, Dan, before that, what when all this is happening, what's going through your mind? You're signing the forms, you're being told you've gone, you found her in an epileptic state. Did you panic?
Okay, for the epileptic fit, I panicked, but then within a short time she had cooled down and I could hear her breathing. Yeah. I was not shocked about the consent forms because when Jibril was being born, like 3 years earlier, I had to sign consent forms. Yeah. For that CS to be done and all. So it was nothing new and there was nothing wrong with her. So to me, I was like, hiya. So you guys need to go for a CS. Shit. We were to do normal, but let's do it. So even when she was wheeled into theater, I was like, whoosh. The seizure was sorted. I don't know what this preeclampsia is. Maybe
Yeah.
it's related to the epilepsy. Let me wait for
Yeah.
Mama and Baby to come out.
Yeah.
So she's wheeled into theater.
Mm-hmm.
I hung around the theater like the way I did 3 years prior, and true to my
Mm-hmm.
hunch, Darrell was the first one to come out. But
Mm-hmm.
it was different. When Jibril was born, he was brought to me, you know, as in I
Mm-hmm.
saw the baby before he went to nursery. But when Darrell came out, the nurses actually rushed to the nursery.
Mm-hmm.
So because I was like,
Ah.
hi, what is going on? So I went down to the nursery because I knew within 10, 15 minutes, Drew would also be wheeled out. So I went to the nursery to see my baby. And I was told the baby is okay, but oxygen levels are 50, optimum is 90 watts. So they had to rush into the incubator. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
can I see him? Then they're like, yeah, go in, but you can't touch. So I went, I
Oh,
looked at Darrell, he was okay. And they told me they're cleaning her up, the mom will be out shortly. So
wow.
it's business as usual. So I went up, then the doctor comes out without Drew. Then he's like, hey, Dan, can we talk? I'm like, what's up?
Mm.
So he started telling me that as they were cleaning her up, she kept on bleeding, as in, haikuwa
Oh,
inaacha.
oh.
After doing their tests, her platelet count was low. So they needed to rush her to ICU to do whatever they need to do. But I also need to get blood for her plasma because platelets, the platelet count
Yeah.
was low. So yeah, I was like, okay, so where do I come in? He's like,
Mm-hmm.
you need to send consent forms. I remember I just halted him there. I think that's when I started panicking. I
And
remember
you are
telling him,
alone? You are
huh? I was
alone?
alone at that time. As in, we
Wow.
didn't know it was going to get serious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember stopping the doctor and I was like, now we do this. Whatever that needs consent from now, I give my consent in advance because this is like a
Yeah.
delay. Ukisimamisha kuongea na kuna issue, you sort the issue, then tell me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
procedure is procedure. They brought the forms I had to sign. Drew was wheeled
Mm-hmm.
into ICU. And at that time, I remember I tried calling my dad. His number was not going through. I called Chris, the guy who was now housing Jibril, and I told
Mm-hmm.
him, "Hey, you guy, I need to get blood. Drew has had to go to ICU." Then
Mm-hmm.
I put a post on Facebook, guys, I need
I
blood.
remember.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where it started spiraling.
Yeah.
But that was 21st. 2 days later, she left us.
Whoa. And it was just that fast, like 2 days,
It
and that
was
was it.
2 days. Actually, I remember day one, there's a very good doctor. In fact, I owe a lot to this doctor. It's called Dr. Gome.
Yeah.
We go to the same church.
Yeah.
Dr. Gome, I remember he was one of the first responders. He came, he looked at the reports, he went into ICU, he walked out, then he was like, Dan, don't worry. I've seen this before, she'll be okay.
Yeah.
Have you got blood? Luckily, there were hundreds of guys who showed up outside to see. I do not
Yes.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the hospital turned down all of them and only retained 6. But that's story for another day. So we
Yeah.
collected the blood. He kept me abreast with what was going on. By the
Yeah.
time it was taking a turn, he was also one of the first people to actually sit me down.
Yeah.
Before it was even communicated officially that we had lost Drew, we had sat down with Dr. Gome, Pastor Gideon Banda, Dan Keys, Chris, and my very good friend Onil Nyanje, who's battling cancer right now. Those are the men that I sat down with. We prayed, and I already
Mhm.
knew before I even went to hospital to now have it done. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how it went down.
Whoa, and we're so sorry about that, Dan. That I mean, having to lose the mother of your children, and now this is Jibril, the second
Uh,
one,
Second one is Daryl.
Daryl. So Daryl has like basically never ever met his mom,
At all. He gets stories from his brother.
or he gets stories. So Jibril actually remembers, has memories, and can still talk about her.
Yeah, we do.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So from there, so here you are, another baby, but and I remember Jibril was still young,
Yeah.
quite young.
Yeah.
How was that for you now, like that transition? to, okay, I had a wife now and I have to just be the man that I am and take care of these boys. Like what did you go through, the phases? Just if you can describe for us the emotion.
I think I can. For me, it's a testimony of faith.
Okay.
Faith, in the sense, what worked for me is literally letting go and letting God. Huh?
Okay.
I got to a point whereby I'm like, okay, I thought I had everything going. Now things have stopped. You are getting all sorts of advice from every single corner.
Yeah.
People who feel they have been there, people who feel what you're doing is wrong or what you're doing is right. So
Yeah.
basically, what I did was first surrender to God. Then I reset everything.
Yeah.
I went back to the one person who raised me, which was my mother.
Wow.
Because for me to be here, my mom got me here. And if I can trust that I'm here, then she can be the only person, thank God she's alive, who can also hold me and my son to where I am. Yeah. So to me, that was my strategy. Just go back to basics. I got a lot of backlash. I lost a lot of friends. Yeah, because some did not understand what it is I'm doing. You try and explain to people, but there are those who invest their emotions in you so much that they forget that hey, you also need to make your own decisions. Yeah. So my work, I owe it a lot to my family first, because my mom basically took Daryl, gave up whatever it is she's doing for the past 3 4 months. When I can say I had lost it, she was there. Yeah,
Wow.
and she allowed me to find myself. Finding yourself is not easy because it needs someone to be vulnerable. You need to be able to speak and speak honestly and not fear judgment. And that's what I tell my fellow friends. You know what? Just if you can get a circle of trust, people who will not judge you, people who you can literally stand naked in front of and feel nothing. Um, and I'm fortunate enough to have that. Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
so many, they're like one or two, but they did
Yeah.
not judge.
Okay.
Even when
Yeah.
everything else was going on around, they knew exactly where my head was at and they helped put me in the right space. Yeah, so find your center, block out distractions. Social media is one big distraction, but if used correctly, it can be a tool to get people to learn. So I also used myself as a guinea pig because I'm in show business, but show business also requires an element of being human. And if I can teach someone or show someone something through how I'm living, I mean, that's servanthood right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And for, I mean, okay, so for even just for the sake of those who are watching, like when the doctors after you lost Drew, did they take time to explain that, many people hear preeclampsia, but they don't actually know what it is. For me, the basic knowledge I have about it is that it has something to do with pressure, with some high blood pressure, and it's actually advisable, like not to go through surgery. For anyone who has pressure, the doctors try to make sure they stabilize your pressure. So preeclampsia, can you break it down to us so that I don't give people the wrong information?
No, no,
But it
it's
has
actually
caused, it's causing many deaths in women. Like it's
now preeclampsia is the condition. It's actually eclampsia. Okay. Now there's pre and there's the full blown eclampsia. I think I read this in those 2 days. Both personal research and also the advice that are being given from the doctors. You are very right. It is pressure related, and there are some telltale signs prior to someone going into a preeclampsia condition. One of them is swelling. Yeah, and for Drew, I remember very well. Drew's feet would swell, and the interesting bit, even when she was expecting Jibril, our firstborn, her feet would still swell. So it was nothing new. Yeah. And it would feet swell to a point, if I remember Drew's, you could press the foot and it leaves like a dimple and you see it now getting getting into form slowly. It's like a nice fluffy pillow with a lot of fiber. So if you notice that, for us we ignored because we were used to it, but now I know better. Please do not ignore such. In fact, run to your gyna and just have it checked. It could be nothing, but it's better for you to have it checked. The epileptic fit that is now heading towards a full-blown eclampsia. So your explanation was spot on. One of the biggest telltale signs is pressure in expectant ladies.
Okay. So, and then, so now done, we get to Winnie. Congratulations on your engagement, by the way. So here is done. Everyone is following your story. We were all on your pages, and even the video you shared about Drew. I think the night before she passed on, you guys were from a dinner thing, and her laughter. Her laugh echoes because I kept on watching that video. I had to stop myself because I'm just like, no, this is a, it's a joke. But then so now here is Drew, and here is Dan, lost the love of his life then, and now engaged to Winnie. So could you kindly just share the journey between
Between Drew
mourning?
and Winnie.
Yes, between Drew and Winnie. Yes.
Sorry, I'm usually blunt. Some guys find it hard to speak like that, but it's the truth. Yeah, I had Drew. God decided to take her. So yeah, it's from Drew to Winnie. So that journey was hard because of people, and because of, for a long time, letting other people's opinions count, disregarding my own. Yeah. So between Drew and Winnie, I even tried having a relationship. So I dated another girl for a couple of months, and it didn't work out. And that's the truth. Yeah. I say it because it's a relationship, man. It didn't work. I tried, and even when that was ending, and we started out with Winnie, there was still elements that I was not releasing. I could not be free to express myself because I was worried. What if so and so sees me with this one? What will they think? Yeah. So it's a hard road because again you think of stories of stepmothers and children. I do not want to bring someone in the house who is going to molest or put mental stress on these boys. I do not want to get into a relationship and injure whatever relationship I have with my in-laws. So there are so many factors that that, to be honest, I needed to say, put this all aside. Let me think about me. Okay, what's best for the kids? What's best for me? So I'd say my start with Winnie was on a totally clean slate. This is where I'm at. This is the kind of attention that my but I'm still talking. So Winnie was, I love her. She's free spirited. She speaks her mind. She's very supportive. She's the exact of me, only that she's more beautiful and she's a lady. So she was willing to take this walk with me. Yeah. Disregard everything and everyone. Let's just build a home. And I loved that about her. Her relationship with my boys is amazing. She's a creative like I am. Yeah. So we sit, we dream of something, and we actually try and pursue it. And that's what life is about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found Winnie, and I'm happy.
Okay. And where did you meet Winnie? Like apparently apparently Winnie was Drew's friend. Remember, I've been watching your interviews.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. So here Drew has passed on, and then you were engaged to her friend, of course, engaged to get married. Just tell us. Apple.
Now, for me to answer how I met Winnie, it was even before Drew passed. So allow me to rewind it kidogo. So I met Winnie before I met Drew. I met Winnie when I was still at campus, and we met at the Little Theatre Club in Mombasa. Yeah. Then we lost contact. Yeah. We just met and we were friends because we were in the same industry. No relation, no nothing. I just saw a girl there, and I remember her because we did a few things together. Fast forward to way after I had married Drew, around 2013. We were in the events business with Drew, and I think their company is still running through the sisters. It's called Super Six. So in the events business, we subcontract a lot, and this one time we were subcontracting a band, and the band is called Jukwa the band. And who is the leader of the band? Ta-da! Winnie. So we touch base with Winnie again. This time it's Biashara. So they quickly hit it off with Drew because I think I fall in love with the same kind of people. As in they have a lot of similarities. So they hit it off. They didn't become like best friends, but they were very good in business together. So like when Winnie would get gigs, she would holler at Drew and vice versa. So even after Drew passed, it's not that we were close with Winnie or anything. It's just I knew her, she knew me. It's only when we got casted in KTN's Kalimani Dynasty was when I started seeing Winnie differently. Like, okay. And then, long story short, we are here.
Okay, and then this social media of ours, ulipatiwa maneno. In fact, when I put up your poster, someone was like, "Damn, someone got him before I got there." Like I'm like, I know chicks Sonko, waiting for you to move on. But before that, you mentioned something interesting. How did your in-laws take you? Like, do you still communicate to them? Like, how did they take now that you're engaged? And how is that for you? It's that's also for someone else who's in your space who is scared to move on.
Okay. One thing I'll urge guys, and I'll be very blunt about it. I'm not pointing any fingers, but when you get married, remember it is you and your spouse first. Anyone else are extras. It's a very difficult thing to say, but even in the Bible, you leave your house, I leave mine to start ours. Yeah. Now, in my case, I had started mine. So my house was me and Drew. If I was to go first, me and my house, I would expect Drew to take care of it. If Drew decides to move on, she has my blessing because it's still death do us part. Let's not forget the promises that we keep. Sometimes, because of grieving and people's own perceptions, in-laws can come in and you can either be at loggerheads or you can be in the same line. Yeah. In my case, it's mixed. It's mixed, bits of both. And the beauty about it, it's out in the open. There are those who I do not communicate with, and there are those who I do. Case in point, Drew's dad is like is like a big brother. I speak to him on a regular. Okay, so to answer your question, I already have Drew's dad's blessing on the moves that I'm making, and to me, that is what counts.
And for Winnie, was Winnie in Jibril and Darrell's life? Like, I mean, of course, if you guys were doing business together, she'd probably pass by home, hang out with you guys. So what was the reaction even for your boys? Like, how have they adjusted to that? Do they ask questions?
Okay, so that introduces something else. Remember, I told you I was in a relationship prior to Winnie, yeah. And me, I think I'm an out of the box thinker. Many people will tell you that if you have kids, don't rush to introduce them to Sijui who you'll confuse them. I'm sorry to say, to me that's nonsense. Because if my kids cannot learn life through my experiences, and I'm shielding them from whatever it is, then I'm not raising them right. So I expose my kids to my life. Yeah. So in my relationship after Drew, I'd exposed my kids a bit to my girlfriend then. Yeah. Then I also expose them to Winnie. They are free with Winnie. They know now Winnie is the one who's going to be mommy. They understand relationships. Yeah. And the reason that we do that is so that even as they grow, remember they're understanding attachments, they're understanding letting go, they're understanding loss. And for me, most importantly, they're understanding how to cope with life's challenges. Yeah. Like you can lose love and you can get love. Yeah. And I allow them to also express that. So when did Winnie join in on their lives? To be very honest, actively after my second, or rather after my relationship, just before hers. That's when I started exposing her, when I was ready to like move on with her. Yeah.
So since you told us how you broke it, how you proposed to Drew, Ebu tell us with Winnie ulimwambia niaje si niko ready sasa kumove on niaje.
Akimtesha na story, and thank God she's not here. You are getting nyamazisha. So by the way, just for the record, I proposed to Winnie just before this pandemic struck. So by the way, corona imetuharibia vitu mob za maisha, lakini we are still living. How did I propose? Again, these things don't plan. By the way, after I lost Drew, sorry, 1 minute. What is it, Baba? What is it?
Is that Jibril? Is that Jibril or Daryl? We want to say hi. Hi, Daryl. So if you're watching, guys, that is Daryl. Daryl is the cute bundle of joy, the second born.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what was I saying? You muted yourself.
Engagement.
Yeah, engagement. Atanimaliza kisikia hii story. We were at home, yeah, and yes, we started living together before we got married. It saves costs for those who are watching live. But she had gone in to freshen up after her shoot. Yeah, I was in the living room. Tumemaliza kudishi na boys. I let them have the cartoon time at night. I just walked to the bedroom, locked the door. I opened the bathroom door. She was there in all her wholeness in the shower. Please do not paint mental pictures.
I'm trying not.
This one. Bring that for you. So, Jibril, get juice for Daryl from the fridge. Okay, good. Okay, good. So, I look at her and I think it was like the same 3 words. See, we get married. I'm serious.
Come on, Dan.
She was dumbstruck. She was like, huh? Hapo kwa shower. Ameshikilia ile konzili ya kuoga. I closed the door. I went back to the living room.
Did you even wait? Did you even wait for her to answer?
Below mnafunga towel mpaka hapa juu. She was doing something with her face on the mirror.
She was doing this.
Umeamwaje?
I swear, Dan.
No, wait, it's life, man.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Where's the ring? Sijui nini. I was like, ai, kwani bila ring unaweza sema no? Where are we getting married? You know, she broke down, then she said yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
oh,
so
wow.
that's how we got engaged. Hatukwenda kwa hoteli, sijui, no. We just agreed.
Hey, for any dude who's watching, Dan has just shukished your value, as in the chicks. So for the chicks who are watching,
hakuna mtu anakuja kukubajetia maisha, jibambe.
Enyewe, Aki. So for the chicks who are watching, Dan has just spoiled your proposal plan. So ukeulizwa even random, in the house, in the shower. Just Kubali, and I'd like to recognize the people who are watching. Maria Muinde, thank you. Maria was our guest, Dan. She was here like the last 2 weekends ago, and she recently just lost her spouse. So her topic was widowed young. We were just asking her how she's journeying on, and she was really eager to follow your story. And of course, we also hope for her one day she'll be able to move on. They have a young, they had a young, or rather, she has a young boy called Shane, and so Maria is watching. Umempatia motisha. Maria, umesikia time ya move on, consult done. And thanks Maria for watching. Anthony Mshiri, karibu sana. Rebecca Mashuki is tuned in. Helen, I'll watch all the way from Diani. Thanks for watching. Always. Eve Boss says, yeah, hi Jibril.
Hi.
How are you? What are you doing?
I'm just watching.
You're just watching and chilling with Dad.
Yes, also Darren.
Oh, with Dad and Daryl. That's nice. All right, enjoy yourself. Yeah, and then we have Eve Boss who says, continue resting in peace, Drew, dear friend and former classmate from Apostle. May your family, may your family continue to find strength and comfort in the Lord. That's from Eve Boss. Maria says, long live our moms, which is true. Myra is watching. Karibu sana. Lilian Otieno, my cousin all the way from the US. Thanks for tuning in. Dan, unaona hii ONC ati mambo kidogo. Sisi ni international. But do I say international accent? So, Elsie Lorraine Quisha, what a proposal. Yeah, Elsie, that's how you don't bring expectations, threats. Aisha Reddy is watching all the way. I don't know if she's back from, is it Japan? But thanks for watching, my dear. And I'll move to Sophie, just to get perspective of the loss and now Dan moving on. Can you just break down to us I know maybe you've handled clients who have gone through the same. And just that whole perception of when to move on. Dan amedu, tuambie tu Dan amedu. Ni hiyo ni kazi yako. Mimi sasa sijui.
Okay, at least for one, Dan, at least you didn't tell her where is out. So kudos to you. And thank God, I'm already married, so I followed suit. That proposal. But anyway, Ati Dan Amedu, I think Dan and anyone else who has ever been in that position has tuned out the, what do you call it, white noise. Like you've just muted. You decided to mute because at the end of the day, your life is your own to live, because we all have opinions, suggestions. It's like when you get a newborn. I can't even imagine what was going on for you when your second born came along, and when you got, you were discharged and you went home. There are all these people telling you this is what you need to do, this is the formula you need to use. Opinions to Konazo mob. So it just sounds like to me he tuned it out, which at the end of the day, whose life is it to live anyway? Yeah. And so I think for me, we need to consider the fact that when we choose a spouse and when we get a spouse, that's a family that we choose for ourselves. We're not born into it. We choose friends who become family. Again, that's a choice. So imagine for somebody, before you start throwing stones and make comments, imagine that was you who chose somebody. You made a choice, for a selection for yourself. You chose your wife or husband. And then you lose that person that you chose. What does that mean for you? What does that do to you? Where does that leave you and your sense of meaning? Then make a comment. Because at the end of the day, those nights, those lonely, cold nights, those absences from kids' events, as in doing life becomes so personal. And yet, if we focus on what other people think and say, are they there? Are they there when you're going for Parents' Day? Are they there when you're even considering what school to take your second born to take, Darrell? Going for jabs, fevers in the night, because those things that have no manners, they don't come during the day. Are they there? Yeah, and I mean, we can look at the technicalities of it all like there's usually like steps that people go through for grief. And it's not to say that anyone goes through the same steps in the same manner at the same time and the same speed. There's no set time where we say 3 years is enough, 8 years is enough. Who are we to say? It's a personal journey that we have to go through on our own. So you usually look at now the loss. Is this person able to recognize the loss? How are they reacting? Have they reacted emotionally to the person who has left them? Can they recollect and re-experience the relationship they had? Because you lose more than a spouse. You lose their secondary losses. You lose the role they had in the home, in the children's life. There's many other losses that come along with that. Then there's the attachment to the person who has left. Do you sever those ties? We're not talking about not paying respect and not memorializing your loved one, but there's an attachment that would be a concern. Like if you go to the graveside 9 to 5, because then it means you're not able to do your day-to-day life, you're not able to work or take care of the kids. Then there's a way you readjust even to the world without forgetting your loved one, and you're able to reinvest in your life. So you're able to do other things in another way, because you're never going to be the same. You cannot, there's no control alt delete. You're never going to go back to a time before the bereavement. So it's a matter of being able to survive, being able to live despite what has happened to you.
Okay. And Sophie, for Winnie, what, there's, and maybe Dan, before we get to Sophie to answer that, Dan, did Winnie get, hey, wacha nisimix majina uambiwe dada mwingine.
Uzuri Sophie ni bibi ya mtu.
Mr. Muriuki, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Your wife, you're happily married. So Dan, what reception did Winnie get? Did she, first for you, did you lose friends like some of the friends, Drew's friends, because they are thinking, dude, because on social media I saw you really being attacked, and I'm like, what's wrong with people? There are so many people who are negative, and I remember you unleashing for us, Winnie. There was before the final unveiling, guys were actually laughing on your poster, like, this guy is joking, and you're like, he did for us another reveal, and he was like, there, here she is, it's done. And guys were so confused. So we were like, me, I was laughing because I knew what you're doing. So like, is he introducing Winnie because he's acting with her? So in the Kalimani dynasty, this is supposed to be his house. Yani, you threw guys off. So please tell us about that whole phase, and then about now losing friends, losing just basically friends, family.
Wow. Hata sijui nianze. Umeuliza maswali moba.
Tupate story yako aya social media. Okay. Social media
na story ya
na mabeshte na Winnie kupoteza mabeshte as in ama wewe.
Now you see, that's the interesting thing about life. We always, friends are in 3 categories. Yeah. Kuna wale wa reason, season na lifetime. So kuna wale reason walikuja kwa marafiki wangu ni juu I am married, so I portray this image of a family man. But once the marriage broke and I'm now a widow, I do not subscribe to that church group because I'm not a married man. These are real life examples. So I lost a lot of friends, but I gained others.
Okay.
The most important thing is I have breath in my lungs, and that should be the same for everyone, because life's a rehearsal. And the time that the moment guys realize that, then just go. You'll get the right support as long as what you're doing is right. So come to the relationship scene. No one knows where Drew and I met, yet they were very supportive. I did not choose to lose Drew, but it happened. Why can't the same people trust me to make a choice as good as I did then? These are some of the questions that I would pause.
Yeah.
Before they even come to throw jabs at someone. This is a fellow human being before anything else. I see beauty in her. Those who ridicule and call her names, I see them,
Wow.
but that's their opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you raised a very good point. When I started the teasers,
Mm-hmm.
there are people who, and I'm blunt, there are people who are even saying she looks like a dude.
What?
My baby sees these things. We talk about it, but guess what? I trust her and she trusts me.
Amen.
No one else's opinion counts, and that's how it should be, even in any relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So once, Sophie says, is it the white noise? You
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Once you learn to block it and focus, it doesn't matter. Opinions will always be there. That's why when people sit down to watch a movie, the interpretation you have about a certain character will differ from the person who's sitting next to you. But don't lose focus because of other people's opinions. And that's how Winnie and I live. Just live openly, honestly. Those who are for you will be with you. Those who are
Yeah.
not for you, and do not hold it against them. It is okay.
Wow. Wow. You've taught me something. Mimi naweza kukutukana hiyo social media, but
Nitukane tu, lakini nitarudi kwangu kulala, utarudi kwako kulala.
oh my. So yeah. So Sophie, for Winnie now, Winnie is the one who, we can't say it's easy, even just accepting that proposal. Imagine even after Drew is 6 feet under, someone would still call Winnie a homebreaker. Or I saw something interesting where Dan was being told that he must have been having a thing with Winnie before Drew died, because he openly said they were working together. And now Winnie's here, and guys are like, he's told. Okay, I'll be honest. There are people who also were inboxing me like, I've seen your friends with Dan Sonko. What's that story? Me, I think he was having an affair with Winnie. And I'm just like, yo. So Sophie, for Winnie, like even just encouraging her from your point, from your profession, as the person who's looked at as an enemy. And there is beautiful Winnie. She is melanin like me, guys. So pia sisi tunapatanga mabwana, by the way. Yeah, so for whoever is watching, there is Winnie and Dan, such a beautiful picture. We still hope, I'm trying to delay this Kasho Nini so that she joins us. Anyway, so yeah, Sophie. And Sophie ngoja kabla uonge, Aisha, yes, Aisha is watching from Thailand. Nimekwambia Dan sisi hatuletangi. Shiko Tyro says, right, so much, right, telling you, usipate your pressure, Dan, no pressure. And Aisha also says, oh, so handsome, your boys are handsome, Dan. Sijui kama umesha nini, uko na security jumadem, when they become teenagers. Hey. Mafisi. And then Rispa Babu, what an inspirational story. God bless you and your family. Dan our Legwa says, don't lose focus because of other people's opinion. Dan Sonko, well said, inspiring story. Maureen Matinde, hi babe, all the way from UK. She says, so much love. Okay, so I'll keep on reading your comments, guys. If you're sharing a watch party, unfortunately, I can't see the comments. I can see the live comments here. So yes, and Mudhoni Kimani ni mwingine amesema, such a handsome boy. Are you taking notes, Dan? Ni wengi. Lillian says, you are a beautiful couple. God bless you and your family. So Dan, you have a lot of love going on. Mbona unatonesha mkono? Ebu rudisha uso yako. Haya. So your makeup artist has come to beat your face. You want to look like me. And yes, my makeup artist, shout out Tasha Ibrahim. If you want your face beat, just reach out to Tasha Ibrahim, and we'll also share her handle on our comments. So Sophie, to Winnie, who's the, in quotes, homebreaker, what can you tell us about that? Just society judging her, and it's not easy.
Sometimes we have double standards.
Mm-hmm.
So in some communities, we know about wife inheritance. Yeah, like within the Luo community, yeah, you lose your husband, and then that's what happens. Nobody ever calls the brother-in-law or the cousin or whoever a homewrecker, because it's assumed that that's what's supposed to happen. It's accepted because that's how we've been socialized. And so a situation like this that is going against the grain is bound to get what do you call it? You're bound to get a lot of resistance because it's not a kawa thing. It's new. It's and the fact that nowadays we speak out about so many things and we get to hear about so many different stories because our world has just become either smaller or it has opened up more with social media and so on. But we get to hear about different things. You think these things never used to happen those days? They did. But now because we are verbal and because we speak out, then this is why probably we are hearing about the resistance. But then the double standards are because why is it acceptable to have wife inheritance and then this is declared unacceptable? So how we are socialized matters. How we are brought up, our communities and our backgrounds, you can't discard them, but then you just have to find a way of living through it. Yeah. So for Winnie now coming into this situation, I think it also takes extra strength in some regards because she's coming into a situation that she did not help build. She found it there. She found the kids, she found Dan had created a home with Drew. And so walking into that, it can't be easy for somebody. But then if you look at why you're doing it, if you look at your relationship and the fact that you two have an agreement and you have respect for each other, then it becomes a bit easier to be able to work through these things together because then you're having an open conversation and an open relationship. And even that notion of stepmother, evil stepmother, who said, just because you read in some storybook that was written 2,000 years ago, so we write a new storybook. We write a new relevant storybook. Yeah. And that's not the narrative for everybody. There are people whose own parents mistreat them to levels where you're like, Yani, to drive a car, you need a DL, but to have a child, you just need certain skills. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the fact that Winnie has walked into that situation and has agreed and wants to be a part of this beautiful family, what's our problem? And I say that with a lot of love. What's our problem? As people, you've heard what Dan said. That journey was hard because of people. Where are they now? And then even after they get married, there'll still be people who are coming to say, so when are you having kids of your own? And Jibril and Darren kids of theirs. So why are we now coming to superimpose our ideological ideas? And there's no formula to life. There's no add this and add that and then boom, we have a perfect relationship. We do what we can when we can. And sometimes life happens. Things work backwards. You don't grow up, get straight A's, get a good job, get married, have 3 children or whatever, 2 cats and a dog. Sometimes things work backwards. So then what do we do then? And yet we have tomorrow to wake up to and take care of our kids. So each to their own. And it doesn't mean that when we do things the right way, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't always work out that way. What do you say to people who've done things the right way and still get divorced 6 months after getting married? What do we say about that? Yeah. And what do we say about people who've never gotten married and never had children? What do we say about that? So we say everything and anything about everything and anything, and then after we've said, So
okay, so for anyone who's ingiling Don't Story, Sophie amesema in short nyini mafala na muache. in short. And Sophie, you mentioned something about kids. Dan, Sophie has mentioned that I'm sure you already have that pressure of, are you planning to have more? This is Winnie that she wants to have children. I mean, she already has children, clearly, Darrell and Jibril, but
those are like Sophie said.
What is your question?
Conversations that are there.
Yes, I know. That's why I want to.
And I know for a fact, okay, for Winnie, she really wants us to get a girl. Anataka tu apate dem moja tufunge hiyo story hapo. But then I tell her, you know what? These things we plan, God loves.
God loves, yes.
We can start getting busy looking for that one girl, then we are slapped with triplets, all boys.
Boys.
So and the thing is, we don't stop people from doing all those questions, nanini. What we urge guys is don't force it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you guys are getting, when are you getting married? Okay, so you're married. When are you getting the first child? We will get when the time is right. Maybe we might not get. It's unnecessary pressure. Let's
Yeah.
give. There's something Sophie has mentioned about a story. Yeah. What I tell, it's good you mentioned it. Your life is your own story. It's your own story. Yeah. You
Yeah.
decide what you're going to pen in there. If you put
Yeah.
in negative things, guess what? That's how your story is going to be like.
Yeah.
You have the control, you have the pen. It's you
Yeah.
to write. Listen, get a few things from outside to try and juice your story up. But if you juice it up with all these negative things or opinion from others, you're not penning your story, you're penning someone else's story.
Yeah. Wow, Dan. And again, Dan, I applaud you. Like I've seen you fight, not
Jibril,
really fighting, but
please
even
join
just
with her here.
the brevity, that you took just to go on social media to declare Winnie your fiance, to tell guys I'm moving on. The lashing, you had a lot of lashing. You had a lot of lashing on social media, and just that you stood your ground and you're like, you know what, it's my life. I applaud you for that, because there are many people who lose a spouse and are scared to move on because of what society thinks. So big up to you, Dan. And
Thank you.
so, guys, if you're watching, if you look at the screens, you see it's creatives, support creatives, and there's a pay bill there, 880100, an account number, social status for social good. Alone we can do some, together we can do so much more. So if you're wondering what that is, this is a cause that Dan is basically behind, and he'll tell us something about that. And as he said, he got engaged just before before COVID, and COVID has been good and bad, but good in the sense that Dan is out here fighting for creatives. You know, creatives right now, na COVID yote, jobos have been a rumor. No one really remembers creatives, and I'll just read like to summarize about your proposal, Dan. So Dan and Winnie started raising funds online to feed the creative industry mates, and they raised over 1.3 million and fed well over 1,000 creatives at the coast. That's no mean feat, Dan. I saw you on social media really pushing, and Yani, I don't even know what to tell you. So they decided to stop feeding guys on June 29th and decided to focus on getting industry colleagues to feed themselves. So can you guys believe this? Like, my jaw dropped. Dan sold his car to kickstart the industry through competitions. Mumesikia aliuza gari. Yeah? That's a selfless man right there. And ladies, I'm sorry, you are late. Winnie has him now. Poleni, he's gone. So then they birthed the idea of a center that will house a public art gallery that will be free to creatives. The center is a mix of an incubation hub, co-working space, exhibition space, and event venue. And they are currently seeking support to the tune of 1.8 million to ensure the center remains open for the next 6 months so that they can prove what the industry is able to achieve. Yani Dan. Those are two great brains there. That's why you're together. Aki ungepata maziwa mala hata ungeweza kazi yenye umefanya, but big up to you and Winnie. Big up. So just tell us a bit more about this initiative and what the response has been.
Okay, you've basically summed it up. What we did is when COVID struck, Kizungu. When COVID struck, guys were at a standstill. I mean, think of your favorite DJ. How has he been for the last 3 months? Yeah, your musicians, those guys who could not go to set because there's lockdown. So it's a whole industry, which I'm part
Yeah.
of. So we started out, Winnie and I, we were doing live auctions, and basically what we are saying is we were knocking on people's doors, begging them for money to buy food for our fellow creatives. In the process, we were doing a database and we were able to collect a lot of names. We have about 3,200 names across the region, but I'm from Mombasa, so I concentrate with where I am. I have about 2,000 names for Mombasa creatives alone.
Yeah.
But decided, you know what, we can't keep doing this. One of the motivating factors as to why we stopped was entitlement. We realized there are people who call and tell you, we gave our name yesterday, we have not gotten our hamper. So it's like they have a right to that hamper. They do not understand what it takes for them to get that hamper on their table. So we were like, let's stop giving fish. What can we do to get these guys to feed themselves? So, you know, the thing with ideas, you could have very good ideas, but trust is an issue. No one will give you money because of your dreams, and that's where creatives fail. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to come up with structures and all these things. So a quick win is competitions, and competitions always work in stimulating something. I didn't have money for competitions, but I had an idea. So I decided to sell my car, but no one knew why I was selling my car, and I loved it because it created an impression that I'm struggling. I'm deep in debt, and that was the vibe that was going around, and I loved it. So we maintained that. People thought I was stressed and I was selling the car because of ABCD. But when we rolled out the competitions, that was after I officially sold the car. The total prize money is exactly equivalent to the total amount I used to sell the car. And the lesson here is we hold on to things that really are useless. Yeah. If you think about it, it's useless. If I could use my car to stimulate, why not? So we did. Another reason why we stopped feeding, we were like, we are creatives. We can use our talents to actually monetize and showcase ourselves. So we took another bold move and took this house in the middle of Mombasa. It is right in the island. Now, this place is beautiful. We want to open the first free public art gallery. We've already taken it. It's a leap of faith. But we need to prove that we can do it. And to prove it, we basically just asking for lease. The lease obligation is 300,000 shillings a month. That covers rent, electricity, water, and internet, and a large space. And that is what creatives want. We are going to change that public art gallery, and we are dedicating it to Drew. We launched it on the 15th, and it's dedicated to my late wife. And we'll have a room. For example, I was telling Sophie earlier, we'll have a room for counseling sessions, which is absolutely free to creatives. Yeah. We'll have spaces where they can be able to come and do something, and instead of paying venue hire, they just come, count the seats. If you sold 2 tickets, why are you paying 10,000 shillings for a venue? Do a share of it. Let the center have something to run and have something in your group's pocket. Yeah. So we are calling ourselves the creative nest, where creatives will come, nurture, fly, and thrive. We are no longer feeding because that is a poverty mindset. We want guys to work. So right now we've made proposals. I mean, guys saw how crazy I went. I was calling the governor. I've knocked every door. But we decided, you know what, we won't wait. Because like the same way the hunger wasn't waiting for someone out there wants to do something. So we've taken the place. We don't have rent for the next 5 months, but we've paid one. So tunachanga pesa, we just need 300,000 a month. Give us 6 months and see what happens.
Hey man, big up to you, Dan. That's no mean feat. And if you're watching, you can see there are t-shirts that you can buy. The till numbers are available. The t-shirts are 1,350 for anyone. Yes, nice. Nitanunua moja. Yes, Dan is donning that t-shirt. It's beautiful. Let me tell you,
if I may add, the amount that we put, 1,350, also has a story. That was the cost of a food hamper.
Yeah.
That's how much the food hamper used to cost. So we are telling guys, instead of kuchangisha pesa watu wakule, guys gave us 1.3 million shillings in 2 months. We are instead asking for 1.8 for 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So let's see how it goes. And it's just
and tuliona a few more comments. Rita McKenna says, such an inspiring story. God's grace is evident. All the best, beautiful family. Disikiri Kubasu for always watching. She says, wishing them the best. Do you, Dan? God bless you. Jerry Kimani, thank you for watching all day from here. Nakuru, we plan. God laughs through Inspiring Story, watching from Nakuru. Vobo Imaina, one of our biggest fans, he's tuned in. Asante sana. So Dan, nimeona ulikuwa unajaribu kuongea na 001. What can we do? And I'm so impressed
By the way, I'll cut you short. Hiyo kujaribu kuongea naye, it was a birthday request.
Yes.
Birthday yangu imepita, so
Yes.
I am not seeking to see him again. Wacha tuendelee. Because that's what life is about. Yeah. See nini birthday request, wacha tungoje next year. Maybe if I have another request, it will be honored. And that's the thing about what we are doing. It is not for an individual. It has a greater impact. So if you knock on a door and the door is not open, do not despair. Maybe they are too busy. When they see your vision later on, they might join up or not.
They might join.
And don't stop. Don't stop.
Hey Dan, you've taught us a couple of things today, yeah. Even just for those, for us, for everyone, I guess, during this COVID period, yani you funguada our machos, and basically you're just saying don't give up. Go for what you can do right now. Let COVID not put you down. You're able. God has given you the gift of life. We're losing people every other day. So if you can, guys, and you're watching, just go for what you can do. Yeah, someone will always come in to help later on. Also, don't wait for someone. Usingoje kupatiwa nini. So Rita McKenna, I think I read, she said, and instead, she says, God's grace is evident. All the best, beautiful family. Elsie Lorraine, she says, I'm impressed and inspired in many ways. Yes, Elsie, I'm also inspired by just basically what Dan has talked about. So even if you have something you want to start, don't give up. Usiseme now you can't do it at you're waiting for Corona. Corona is here. It's here.
Just do, man, do.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else done like any other way? Okay, Sophie. Kabla tuende. Message to Dan.
Ilikuwa birthday yangu juzi. So kama mtu alikuwa anataka kutuma present, kuna hizo details hapo. Inatusaidia.
Hizo nitazirepeat. Nataka kwanza tu nini alafu nitamaliza na hizo details.
At your message to Dan?
Like, just from the psychologist point of view, this is someone who's moved on, like your parting shots for Dan. And anyone who is in his situation, maybe who's lost and is scared.
And I think we talked about this a few weeks ago when we did the show on grief. We shy away from some conversations, like the word dead, died, death. Even just saying them, see, you feel like something. So that tends to make us shy away from some conversations. And I feel like couples need to have those hard conversations. You need to be able to say, if things go south, where do you want to be buried? Do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be sent out to sea? Okay, although I don't think I can do that here. But you know what I mean? Those hard conversations.
Yeah.
Because then you find that a funeral comes and there's drama because I know so-and-so said I want this, and now the family says, never. Conversations around even having a will. These are not things that traditionally you're advised to do when you're preparing to get married. And I mean, coming up with a will won't cost you more than 50K, seeking legal advice and whatnot. Then what happens if I go? You want the person to mourn you for life? Because we don't have this conversation and we hold on to this because we feel we don't have permission. So if I make a choice to remain single and to never remarry and to do this and to do that, that's fine. But then most people hang on because society is judging them. They feel that their late spouse will not allow. There are so many hang-ups that we have that don't let us live life. But if we have these conversations with each other now, will it then give us permission? Because if Rona has taught us anything, is that tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. There are families that are being affected in such hectic ways. you'll find parents have both gone, or almost an entire family, like what we're seeing in Italy. Entire families have been wiped out.
Wiped out. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe one lady has been left alone by the husband, the kids are gone. What is she supposed to do? Should she live on her own for the rest of her life? So having those hard conversations are very important. And then, it's always good to back things up with science. So one of the longest studies ever done on Earth is being done by Harvard University. It's still ongoing. So it's called the study of adult development. And basically, they've been following people, men, throughout their lives. So from when they were young to now as old men. And from a snippet of that study has shown three things. You can learn three key things from that study. Number one, loneliness can kill. Like any disease, like alcoholism, loneliness can kill you.
Yeah.
Because we are human beings and it's in our DNA to have connections. Yeah. And when we have these connections, we make these connections, then guess what? You live longer, healthier lives. So even if you have an illness or something, but you have a support system, then you're able to live that life to the best of your ability. The second thing we've learned from that study is that it's a quality of our relationships that matter. It's not the quantity of friends you have, it's not the quantity, it's about quality of the relationship. So they're finding that marriages that have a lot of conflict, staying in that marriage is actually worse than getting a divorce. Yeah. And being in high conflict situationships. So not just that you're a couple thing, but you and your friends. If it's a high conflict situation, it's not good for your life. It's not good for your well-being and longevity of your life. The last thing we can learn from that study is that good relationships protect our entire system's well-being, so physical and mental health. That study has found that those who are in high conflict situations or bad relationships, whether it's spouse or family or friends, have issues with memory loss and like a decreased cognitive function. Yani, huku haifanyi job poa. Yeah,
Wow.
just from having high conflict in your life. So can we learn from the studies that are being done? Science is telling us we need connections. Rona is evidence. Yeah, we're all now cracking because we're being told stay home. Guys are like, by the we need to see each other. You need to have the adult conversations. You need to see your families because of the fact that we're just human beings who need to make connections. So for me, I think the last thing I want to say in terms of like a parting shot, there's this quote. It's from a book called Stone Diaries or something. So part of a paragraph, but there's these few words that just keep sticking with me. The absent are always present. The absent are always present. Those who have gone before us. It's not that we're saying forget them. They'll always have a place in our hearts. And Dan has clearly shown us that. I mean, even their center is in memory of Drew. Yeah. Winnie is walking into this knowing that Drew is in their life. They're all part of one family. These boys need to grow up knowing who their birth mother is or was in their lives. The absent are always present.
Wow. Wow. That's deep. Do you want me to cry, Sophie?
Always.
Maria's story I was all teary. Leo niseme hii makeup waste. Anyway, and Dan, you are such an inspiration to Maria. She's really here, and I'm so happy she's watching. Again, I remember I told you she lost her husband, Tony Onyango. He was one of Kenya 15th rugby player. And she's really following, and she's even asking which mountain you're facing. As in, she wants to know is it prayer zako ni mountain gani una face? Because umepata mrembo tena. She's a hot chick. Then you have handsome boys, and she's in a place where you were like 2 years ago, I guess. Dan, how long was it between Drew's death and you? Like, how long has it been? 2017.
Drew died 2017 May. I proposed to Winnie March of this year.
17 and 20. Yeah, so someone is out there telling you 3 years is kidogo.
Actually, let me comment on that. I took that much time. If someone loses a spouse today and gets married next week, if they're okay with that, it's good to respect them. If someone decides they are never getting hitched again, it is okay.
Yes.
It is also okay for guys to express their opinion, but don't push it or try to have it imposed on whoever you are advising. Because,
Yes.
like you said, everyone's journey is different. Yeah. So I
Yes.
might have taken 3 years. There are still people who feel too soon. Too soon for who? Mi naishi kivyangu, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Na mko sawa. And I see more people have joined us. Acheng Nyarpacho watching all the way from Dubai. Thank you, sweetie. She says, rewind, please. Nimechelewa. Hi, people. Hi. Remember, we have this on our, we won't take it down, so you'll catch it on our page. Maria says she's waiting to share the story. Thank you so much. And then, okay, so they're having a conversation with Maria. And then I'm just trying to get everyone who's watching. Elsie Lorraine says, quality in a relationship. This is work in progress for some of us. Elsie, don't give up. There are men out there like Dan. I hope you have found one. Yeah, so yes, if I've missed anyone's comments, usichukulia vibaya ni Rita. Yeah, Rita, I read your comments. Sasa Dan, hebu tuambie sasa wenye wana watch na wenye wame lose. I know I sound repetitive, but there's maybe something else you can say. And remember guys, musisahau hapa, if you want to support Dan and Winnie, please support creatives, and the details of Crestness Foundation pay bill, which is 880-100, and account number 855-148-0016, and it's hashtag social status for social good. Please share. If anything, you can also go friend request Dan, not for the wrong reasons, please. Ashachukuliwa. Friend request done so that you can see what he has on his page and you can help him share this. The OINK team will continue sharing this information. Achenya Pacho says, Dan, can we see Winnie? Let her just say hi. We were waiting for Winnie. Imagine she can't come. We'll do next time. We'll just do a 5-minute show for guys just to see Winnie. So anyway, yeah. Okay. Elsie says, Adero, answer this one for me. She needs to rewatch the show. Maurice Owino says, Naskiza Kinley. Thank you, Maurice. Please take notes. And asante for tuning in. So, Dan, anyone out here who amefiwa, unaweza tu repeat mtu mwenye amefiwa na
anyone who's gone through loss, what I can say is accept, because especially when it comes to death, we are all going to go down that road. We don't know how, we don't know when. I remember my pastor told me this. I felt so bad when he told me these words, and this was just after Drew had passed. He's like, Dan, life is for the living. I never really understood.
Yeah, exactly, I always say that.
But guess what? Life is for the living. So accept and do you. Because when you end up getting locked up in your own mind because of listening to too many people, that is just your downfall waiting for you. And everyone who's around you who maybe depends on you will go down with you. So do you and focus and trust God. That's
wow. Wow. Aki, thank you so much, Dan. You have taught us so much. Like personally, I have left here with, question marks and aha moments, as in Asante Sana. And congratulations for the Creativeness Foundation. You are doing a wonderful job. Before we go, is there a way, like for anyone who wants to help, and maybe they're in Nakuru or Nairobi?
Yes. Yes. What I can do is I'll share with you an email address, and you have our funding proposal. So anyone who wants to come on board officially, we can discuss on email. For those who want to chip in, we were saying from the time we were asking for money for food, we were saying even every shilling counts. So kama uko na bob, wewe rusha tu hata hiyo bob. Itakuwa imebakisha 299, 999 per mwezi.
Yeah.
So if we can chip in to feed, let's chip in to provide an avenue for people to feed themselves.
Okay. And for Sophie, thank you so much. You're always, you're always that chick, Yani. You encourage, you give, like, there's some things someone can tell you and you're just like, Aki, yenyewe, ni kweli. Like you've shared so much knowledge, so much wisdom, and I always tell you, my mom says there's this way, there's the way this psychologist you found says her things. Oh my God, like what magic is this? Anyway, so and there's Elsie Lorraine who's asking, Sophie, do you have a link to the study you have shared? Please advance to read more. So Sophie, I don't know after the show if you can just put a link on the comment section. Maria Mwinde says, my motto has always been life is for the living. And she's asking who your pastor is. Maria.
Pastor Gideon Banda.
Yes. And imagine, I always say life is for the living. Even when I'm talking to my spouse and he's like, Suji, what, Adesh, we can't do this. I'm like, life is for the living. As in, imagine. So big up to your pastor, Dan. And before we go, guys, we just want to take a moment of silence to remember Drew and just pray that she continues to rest in peace. So we'll take a moment of silence. May God continue to rest her in eternal peace. Eternal rest be granted unto her, and let perpetual light shine upon her. May she continue to rest in peace. So Dan, thank you so much. Thank you for agreeing to come on the show. Na joeni celeb, ma celebs hawapatikanangi rahisi. So me I can brag. Dan Sonko was in our show. Thank you. Munakwanga na maringo saa zingine nyi ma celeb. So thank.
Hey.
Ni ukweli. Guys, some people ask us, sometimes when you approach someone, they're like, now what is L.in.K? How many viewers does it have? But guess what? Imagine people keep on watching, people keep on going back to watch what relates to them. Sophie umeambiwa, okay, Winnie Akot says, ushaambiwa Maria, okay, Winnie is telling Maria to time ya kumove on aongee na Dan. Dan anaweza kukuguide Maria in God's time. Hi, Darrell.
Hi.
Say hi to Kenyans.
Bye.
You're so cute.
I know.
So, guys, that's Darrell. Darrell never got to see his mommy, but look at what they brought to this world. Hey, I'd have taken myself many years back, but it's okay. Anyway, Lillian Otieno, says, Sophie is fantastic. Thank you for your professional take. Thank you so much, Sophie. So, guys, thank you for watching. Please remember to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at L.in.K. My name is Adero Ocholler. Remember to roll the R. For those who want to continue the conversation with Dan Sonko, please, mtampata will also share his on Facebook. He's just Dan Sonko. Pia yuko Instagram pale, mnaweza mfuata. He can give you more information. Voboy says we'll rewind it till mwanzo and hear the whole story. Yes, Voboy, it's a deep story. And then for you, Sophie, thank you so much. So you guys can reach Sophie at Mambo Akili. She is more than glad to help you. Lakini msiende ati free consultancy. As in atakugusia tu. If you want more professional help, to mjenge, you know, she has groceries to buy. See, groceries ni the wife's responsibility. So yeah, let's tujenge Sophie. For anyone who's feeling hard pressed even after this conversation and you want to seek professional help, please follow Sophie. And guys, I love you all. Thank you. Bless you. Take care. Enjoy your weekend. Move masks. Maureen says, thank you so much for this show. Always educative. Thank you, L.in.K. And thank you guys for watching. God bless you. Mwah. Bye-bye. All right.